Hey, brother B.
Oh, hey, what's up, Wayne?
Sometimes my background so kind of noise. Some bike drive past and making a bunch of noise. So I don't know.
Oh,
Get used to it, brother Wayne.
yeah,
I mean, I'll see.
okay. Where am I now? Sanctification. Yes, welcome everyone. Once again to Just a Word TV. We are just getting started, getting the link onto our website so our people can watch it live on Just a Word TV. So, welcome those who are here. Where was I again? Welcome those who are here. And here's a link in the chat, Just a Word TV link. You'll hopefully put the link out there so those who wish to can all view it. Today's presentation is a kind of a continuation from last week because we're looking at a verse that we had covered last week, but we're going to look at it in more detail today. And that is in Revelation 12. Okay, let me post this to Facebook. Yeah, that is in Revelation 12.
Revelation 12.
Wow, getting some feedback here. All right. So we're going to look at Revelation 12 because in Revelation 12, we were given the recipe to overcoming the beast. Because we cannot be like the religious people of today who are actually just doing religion. Things are happening and it's business as usual for them. They ignore the times, trying to reassure, telling people, oh, things will be all right, not preparing people for the end times. All right? But we are here to prepare our people for that which is to come. So we are looking at how to overcome the beast, how to overcome the enemy, how to overcome the wickedness of this earth. And the recipe for us is given in Revelation 12, verse 11. But before we reach there, we're going to read from verses 1 to 12 to give us a context. And to give us a context so we actually grasp what it is saying. So, somebody read for me, please, Revelation 12, starting at verse 1. And of course, we looked at this last week, and we looked at the fact that this prophecy came through September 23rd, 2017, which means we are right there in the mix of what this is saying. This is actually speaking to us now, today, right now. This time, this is speaking to us and giving instructions to us right now. We have to pay attention. Revelation 12, verse 1. Read this, please.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Oh, you're echoing. All right.
I was
Okay, so this, as we said, happened on September 23rd, 2017. This wonder happened in the stars. Woman clothed the sun and the moon on her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And we looked at this last week in more detail, so you can check out our previous teaching from last Shabbat. Verse 2. Verse 2. Hello? I am muted. And she, Revelation 12:2, and she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pained to be delivered.
God.
Verse 3.
Verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads.
And as we looked at last week, this dragon has been manifested a few other times in scripture, including in Revelation 18, that speaks about Revelation 18. Let's go there. Or Revelation 17, is it? Having 7 heads, I think it is 18. All right. Where is it now? 7 heads and 10 horns. Revelation 17, yeah. I was right there. It was right before me. Revelation 17. So we see this dragon manifested here, speaking to us about Mystery Babylon. Read, please.
17:3.
Verse 3.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sat upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
So the 7 heads and 10 horns is a dragon manifesting, right? And of course, it went on to tell us about the woman being arrayed in purple and scarlet and decked in gold, and Mystery Babylon. Let's read it. Go to verse 4.
Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet colored, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
And notice the term woman there, because the woman in Revelation 12 was referring to Israel. Now we have this parallel woman, this abomination. And of course, the dragon always is the opposer. Whatever the Most High presents, he presents something that is opposite. So that is why he presents Christianity. Christianity is the opposite of what the Most High dictates. Christianity, no law. And the Most High says, obey my laws. So this woman is the equivalent of Israel in the eyes of the devil. It's the devil's tool to counteract and to fight against Israel. Christianity is Satan's tool to counteract Israel and to fight against Israel, which is why whenever we try to wake up Christians as to who they are, they flat out tell you it doesn't matter, and they will fight to the very end to negate the impact or the importance of Israel. Totally in rebellion against it. Nothing to do with Israel, and they mock us, or you Israelites, you this, that. They have nothing to do with Israel. I am not an Israelite. It is the complete counteraction that negates Israel and negates the coming out of his people. This is the woman, the contrary woman. This is Christianity, Roman Christianity. Go read, please. And the woman was arrayed.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet colored, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Verse 5.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
All right, so there we have purple and scarlet color, and we know Roman Catholicism. All right, and it's precious stones and pearls and gold, and having a golden cup in her hand. And we looked at this last week. Don't want to go into detail with it again. All right, so if you want to find out more about that, more in depth about that, check out last week videos. And of course, we also looked into Mystery Babylon, being this whore, this mother harlot, and of her daughter harlots, who are the Protestant Christian denominations, the Jehovah's Witnesses, Methodists, Baptists, Church of God, Pentecostals, Seventh-day Adventists, Mormons. All of these are the daughters of the harlot. They also are harlots, just like the Catholics. All right, so this is the woman that is manifested with the 7 head and 10 horns. The manifestation of the dragon is in Christianity. This is I always tell people, Christianity is Satan's religion. It is, without a doubt, Satan's counteraction to the word of truth. So let us go back to Revelation 12, and we were at the 7 heads and 10 horns. So let's go to verse 4. Let's read it again. Verse 3.
Verse 3. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head.
Verse 4.
Verse 4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
All right, so we see the dragon, the counteraction to the woman. He has his own version of a woman, and he stands attacking this woman which was to be delivered. All right, to devour her child as soon as it was born. And verse 5.
Verse 5. Verse 5. And she brought forth a man child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Aloha,
And to his throne. And to his throne. Caught up until the time it is for him to rule. For him to rule the nations with a rod of iron. This is Israel, this woman. And we see that the devil has his own counteraction, which is Christianity. Verse 6.
Verse 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of Aloha, that they should feed her 1,002 and 60 days.
All right. Initially, when I started, I wanted to look at the point that persecution in the end time will just be for a short time. All right. So after this, when this dragon comes down, will just be, this is I think this is about 3 years and 8 months or something like that. Right? So a short time. All of this problem that is going to be caused by these people on this earth is going to be just for a short time before they are wrapped up. Verse 7.
7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angel.
8.
8. And prevail not, neither was their place found any more in heaven.
9.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Right. So Satan is going to be cast out. He's going to be personified on this earth. As we said in a previous broadcast, just as the Messiah was personified, Satan is going to be personified on this earth. And this is right in this time. Remember we said? We spoke about the prophecy and spoke about the fact that 7 years later, we spoke about the prophecy, this Revelation 12:1 prophecy about the woman clothed with the sun, and said that about a year before, there was a great eclipse that made a mark across the US, and that 7 years later, 2024, another eclipse is going to make a mark and make an X across America. So this is the time for all of this to be manifested. All right. Verse 10 is very important.
Verse
Read,
10.
please.
Verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our Aloha, and the power of his Amashiach, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Aloha day and night.
So the significance of Satan being cast down is that everything now has come to a head. Everything has come to a head. The whole entire scripture, the whole entire Bible now is going to be fulfilled as we are in the end of the age, when all those things that were promised will be promised. The promised man of sin, anti-Messiah, to herald and to be the worker of Satan on this earth. Everything, the mark of the beast, everything is going to happen in quick succession in this time in order to redeem his people, in order for salvation to come to his people. But in order for salvation to come to his people, it's not an easy ride. Time of Jacob's trouble. It is going to be a bumpy ride for this world. A bumpy ride. Because we're going to have the anti-Messiah here. We have Satan here. And they are going to wreak havoc until the Most High steps in and destroys who he is to destroy. And the Messiah comes to destroy who he is to destroy and redeems his people and starts ruling the earth with a rod of iron. Verse 11.
Verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death.
All right, this is our core verse that we're looking at today. Read it again.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death.
This is how you overcome the devil who has been cast down at this time. This is how you overcome the devil at this time. We're going to look at it more carefully, but let's go to verse 12.
12. Therefore rejoice, ye heaven, and he that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants.
All right, so the heavens is rejoicing. Why is the heavens rejoicing? Because they know that salvation has come to Israel. They know that the righteous, the world will be restored in righteousness, and the world that has been given into the hand of the wicked will be taken from the wicked, and the wicked will be destroyed. Verse 12 again. Therefore
rejoice, ye heavens, and he that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you,
having great wrath.
having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had put a short time, he had but a short time.
So the heavens is rid of the devil, but the earth now, the earth is going to feel all of his wrath. All of his wrath. We are in for serious times in these last days. The devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And as we said last week, this is why they are so hurrying everything as if time is running out. Everything is being hurried even before the time. We see this vaccine that they are giving us. The vaccine is not even ready. They are just forcing to get ready and hurrying, and they are saying they want emergency approval, and everybody's just bustling for this vaccine that kills less than 1% of those who get the disease of this vaccine for this disease that kills less than 1% of the people who get it. A vaccine, as I watched a video the other day, a disease, as I watched the other day, the video said, you have to test for the disease to know if you have it. What kind of a disease is so powerful that if to know that you have it, you have to test for it because you show no symptom? All right? All of these, of course, are concocted in order to give us the mark of the beast control, brain control system, slavery system. Yeah? So, read verse 13.
13. And when the dragon saw, and when the dragon saw that he was cut, hold on a bit, 1 second here. This was in the way. I repeat. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child.
All right, he persecuted a woman. So Israel is going to be his target. Yes? Which is why you see them targeting our nation. Our nation is a small nation, insignificant. It would be a small, poor nation. But yet, we are right in the forefront of getting the vaccine quickly. You see our government forming a vaccination committee in order to administer how to administer the vaccine. They know who we are. They know where we are. And of course, our country is a poor country, but yet still we are ready and giving away this vaccine for free. Where did all the resources come from? Of course, the dragon, who is in charge of the wealth of this earth. The dragon is making sure that he persecutes the woman, persecutes Israel, persecutes the children of Israel who are here in our nation and, of course, scattered to the four corners of the earth. All right? So we're going to look at the verse. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. So we're going to look at what it means. We're going to focus eventually on what it means by the word of their testimony. And for that, we're going to start by looking at the blood of the Lamb. Because the blood of the Lamb leads us to the word of their testimony. So to get an understanding of what the blood of the Lamb means, we go to 1 Peter 1, verse 18. Read, please.
1:18. For as much as ye know that ye were not redeemed with corruptible things, as silver and gold, from your vain conversation received by tradition from your fathers.
All right, so let's see the purpose of the blood of the Lamb here. The purpose of the blood of the Lamb, as Peter is stating, is for our redemption. The blood of the Lamb redeems us. We're going to get more insight into the blood of the Lamb as we go. All right, we were not redeemed by corruptible things, because Peter was actually speaking in reference to Torah, which provides provision for the redemption of those who are in bondage. So you would make a payment in order to redeem them. But he's saying that we were not redeemed with these corruptible things. Gold and silver, etc. But what were we redeemed with? Verse 19.
But with the precious blood of a Mashiach, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot.
All right, so we were redeemed by the blood of the Messiah. We were redeemed by the fact that the Messiah offered himself up for us, for our salvation, for redeeming us from the sinful state that we were in. Is your mic that Wayne, make it all that go? Somebody has a fan on or something. All right. Yeah, that was off. Yeah, so it's the blood of the Messiah that redeems us without blemish, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot. Verse 20.
Verse 20. Who verily was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you.
All right, so he was foreordained before the beginning of foundation of the world. So the Most High had him in his plans from that time, but manifests him in this time. Verse 21.
21. Who by him do believe, who by him do believe in Allah, that raised him up from
All right,
the dead.
hold on. Who by him, through him, because of him, we do believe in Allah. That is the purpose of the Messiah. The Messiah was not sent for us to believe that he is Yahuwah. He was not sent to be worshipped as Yahuwah. He was sent as an example, and because of him, through him, we believe in the Most High.
Hallelujah.
It is the power of the Most High that brought him to us and brought his manifestation to us that is going to show us the power of the Most High. And because of the life of the Messiah, we believe in the Most High, the great Ahaya. All right? Read it again, verse 121.
121. Who by him do believe in Allah, that raised him up from the dead, and gave him glory, that your faith and hope might be in Allah.
Hey, what a powerful verse.
It is.
This explains everything. Because of the Messiah, we believe in Yahuwah.
Yeah.
Because of the power of the Most High that raised him up from the dead. He did not raise himself up.
Nope.
It is the power that raised him up that we highlight. Not the fact that he was raised up. It's the power that raised him up. And gave him splendor or glory, as they have it. Gave him. It was the Most High who gave him glory. That
So
your faith and hope might be in who?
In Allah.
Yes.
So Brother B, so it is very clear,
Yeah.
it is very clear that as long as you believe in who is sent, you automatically believe in the sender.
Yes. That's it. That's the whole bottom line. And the whole purpose is
That's
not
it.
that you believe in who is sent, but that you believe
Exactly.
in who sent him.
In who sent him.
It is
Wow.
like I give you a gift, Wayne. I give you a $10 million gift.
What?
Invaluable gift.
Who?
And I send it with Shamuel. And when you get the gift, you're giving all the praise to Shamuel, the one who brought it.
Mm,
You have no regard for me who sent it.
exactly.
You're saying, oh, Samuel, I can't believe you did this. I can't believe you gave this to me. Man, this is unbelievable. And you
Wow.
totally ignore me who sent it.
Wow.
That is what. Yeah, go ahead.
No, just to add to that, all Samuel did was just to be obedient. That's it. Come on, man.
Ah,
All he did was to obey.
yes.
That's it.
Yes. And he's getting all the accolades, and the person
Mm,
whom he obeyed, the one who had the power to give and who gave, we ignore him.
indeed. Very,
That
very
is why you have the woman. That is why you have the woman, the mother of harlots. That is what the mother of harlots produces. Contrary to the truth, twist the truth a little. And if you are not diligent and seek, then you're going to believe what the mother harlot said. Because most of the, even people, Israelites, whole lot of people who say they are in truth, they are believing this thing, worshiping, honoring the Messiah. This thing about Yahusha is Yahuwah, this and all of that and all. No. He has the spirit of the Most High, but it was given to him in measure by the Most High for the splendor or glory of the Most High. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's continue. Seeing, verse 23.
23 or 22? 23?
23.
23.
Yeah.
Being born again, not of corruptible seed.
No, 22.
Yeah, I was
Sorry, my
wondering.
bad.
All right. Seeing he have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren. See that ye love one another with a pure heart fervently.
All right, let's look a little more into this again. When I just came into Christianity, I said, boy, when I'm reading Peter, it's so deep. It is very deep. Very, very deep. Seeing you have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit. In obeying the truth. And we know Torah is the truth. And we know the Messiah is the truth. So what we're looking at today, what does it mean to have the testimony of the Messiah? Bottom line, okay, let me not get ahead of myself. Seeing you have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit. So it's through the blood of the Lamb, through the Spirit, true belief in the blood of the Lamb, then we obey the truth. So what are we saying here? Obedience is inseparable
It is.
from belief. Belief manifests itself in obedience.
Yep.
And it is obedience that manifests our belief. Verse
Clear.
23.
23. Being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of Allah, which liveth and abideth forever.
So, the blood of the Lamb is inseparable from the word of Allah. When you are born again, you actually obey the word of Allah. It is the word of Allah through which or through whom you are born again. So belief and faith are inseparable. So that lays the foundation for what we are going to say about the testimony, having the testimony of Yahusha. And let's read Revelation 12:11 again. It is our core verse. So We have to get it. Read it, please.
And Brother B, some dogs making noise, so hopefully we won't interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
What number are we now?
You should use your mic.
No. I can go for it.
Why you don't use the mic?
Okay.
Your
Let me
mic
read
will
some-
cancel out the background noise.
Okay, give me 1 single minute. Excuse me, please.
Yeah. All right, verse Revelation 12:11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death. And we're going to look at this. This is the core of what we're looking at today. The word of their testimony. What is the word of their testimony? And we just looked at the blood of the Lamb and showed that it is inseparable from the word of Allah. And we had looked at this sometime before, that we need 2 witnesses. Always need 2 witnesses. The word is witnessed by the Mashiach. The Messiah witnesses the word. Deuteronomy 19, verse 5. 15, rather. We in the back as yet?
Yes, he said 15, right?
Okay. Revelation 19:15. 1 witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin in any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, shall the matter be established. This is a basic foundational principle of how the Most High operates. He operates with witnesses, and the witnesses bear the testimony. So, the Messiah is his witness in our covenant. Isaiah 8, verse 20. There is no witness without the testimony. Isaiah 8:20.
Can you hear me now?
It's low. Isaiah 8, verse
Can you hear me
20.
now?
To the law
How about now?
and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. Another very powerful verse that we all should know by heart. If you are not speaking according to the law and to the testimony, we're going to look more into the testimony and see what it is. If you're not speaking according to the law and to the testimony, then there is no light in us. And we know that the woman, the mother of harlots, and their daughters, the Christian harlots, do not speak according to the law and to the testimony, because they say the law is done away with. Seventh-day Adventists will tell you that the other Christians are lawless, but they only partially obey the law. They are also lawless as well, because of course they are a spin-off of the Catholic mother. So they have to also be corrupted. If you have inherited Jesus Christ, God the Lord, church, what else have been inherited? Christmas, Easter, 10 commandment only, communion, virgin birth, incarnation, Trinity, all those things. If you inherited those things from Catholics, some are all of those things from the Catholics, then you are a Catholic. You're an honorary Catholic. You are a daughter of the Catholics. And so you are. Seventh-day Adventists are not excluded from those who have no light in them, because they do not speak according to the law and according to the testimony. So, because they do not speak according to the law and to the testimony. Let's go back to Torah, to the law, to get more insight and more understanding into the testimony. And we'll start with the Ark of the Testimony, Ark of the Covenant, which is the Ark of the Testimony. Exodus 25. 16. Read, please.
Can you hear me now?
You're
Can you
low.
hear me?
Low. It's very low.
What
Test it
about
first.
now? Can you hear
It's
me?
very low. Test it first with Audacity, and then you can come back.
Okay.
And thou shalt put into the ark the testimony which I shall give thee. And thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold, of beaten work shalt thou make them in the 2 ends of the mercy seat. And make 1 cherub on the one end, and the other cherub on the other end, even of the mercy seat shall ye make the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. The Most High is very specific. All of these things have spiritual implications. All of them, every single detail. Most of us will not understand the details. Most of us will never get to understand the details, but they are there for a purpose. And the cherubims shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, and their faces shall look one to another. Towards the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubims be. So, on the ark of the testimony, there is a mercy seat. When you have the testimony, the Most High shows you his mercy. This is why in the end time, if you have it is those who have the word of their testimony who will be delivered. It is those who have the word of the testimony who will be saved from this evil world. And so this is why we are encouraging people to quickly, as soon as possible, to turn away from evil and start walking in obedience to the Most High. Because if you do not, if you even in the last instant, you say you are going to accept the Most High and turn to him, you must have a testimony. And that testimony has to be the testimony of the Messiah. We're going to look at this a little more, but let me just interject. You have to have the testimony of the Messiah, and the testimony of the Messiah is one of suffering. So those who are late to the game, the later you come, the more suffering you're going to go through in the end times. You have to have the testimony of the Messiah in order to enter the kingdom of the Most High. Must. Hallelujah. You cannot without the testimony. All right, let me continue. You ready, Wayne? All right. So the mercy seat is there for those who have the testimony. And not only that, the cherubims that are there, both end of the mercy seat. So we have, take the picture of that, the mercy seat in the middle. 1 cherub stretching over the mercy seat from one end, and one stretching over into the other end. And guess what? They are over the mercy seat. And guess what? They are staring in each other's faces. They are bearing witness. 2 witnesses. They are bearing witnesses to the truth. Right? And when they bear witness and the witness is true, then there is mercy underneath that witness. Yeah? Wait, you're back as yet? All right. And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee. So the testimony is going to be placed in the ark. And it is through the testimony, because of the testimony, that we shall receive mercy. Where am I? Oh, 22. Verse 22. And there I will meet with thee, and I will commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubims which are upon the ark of the testimony of all things which I will give thee in commandment unto the children of Israel. So, right there upon the mercy seat will the Most High be. The two cherubims looking in each other's faces, bearing witness, and the Most High is right there in the midst upon the mercy seat. All right? And there he will speak to us. Because we have the testimony of the Messiah, he will commune with us. He will speak to us. Which is why he only gives his truth to his people. A lot of people say they speak to God and God speaks to them and all of that. A lot of that is deception. To the law and to the testimony. If whatever we receive is not according to the law and to the testimony, then there is no light in us. Then we are in deception. All right? So we find mercy, and he communes with us when we have the testimony. And the testimony is of all the things which I give thee in commandment unto the children of Israel. Cannot have a testimony without it matching up to Torah, without it matching up to the commandments, without it matching up to his laws, his statutes, his ordinances, his judgments. All right? And the law, of course, is given as a testimony against Israel, against his people. Devarim 31, 24 to 30. 31, 24. We ain't back as yet? Shamuel, you there?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. B.
All right. Your sound kind of lowish, but can you read it for me, please? Verse 24.
Okay. Verse 24. And it came to pass, when Moses had made an end of writing the words of this law in a book until they were finished. 25. That Moses commanded the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, saying, take this book of the law and put it in the side of the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah your Allah, that it may be there for a witness against thee.
All right, stop there. For a witness against thee. All right. And that witness is the Hebrew aid, which means a witness, abstractly, testimony, specifically a recorder. All right. A witness is a testimony. So, go back to it. This is saying Moses made an end of writing of the word of this law. Which law was he writing? Here, Shamuel. They have a word for this law, the law of Moses.
Yeah, they have the.
This is the law.
The Mosaic law.
Yes. So the Mosaic law is a testimony against Israel. And these people say, no, the Seventh-day Adventists, oh no, we only have to keep the 10 commandments. Yes?
Yeah.
Foolishness. This law in a book. In a book. The 10 Commandments were written on stone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this Mosaic law is a witness, a testimony. All right? Which is
Yeah.
why the ark was called the Ark of the Testimony, because the 10 Commandments bear testimony, as well as the law of Moses also bears testimony. The 10 Commandments was put in the ark, and the law of Moses was put in the side of the ark. And the ark itself was called the Ark of the Covenant, or the Ark of the Testimony. So it is the entire Torah that bears testimony.
Mm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is a witness against us. All right.
Mm.
Where am I now? Okay. All right, continue. 20, no, where am I? I was
27.
lost. All right, continue.
All right. Deuteronomy 31:27. For I know thy rebellion and thy stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you this day, ye have been rebellious against Yahuwah, and how much more after my death?
The
28.
the testimony is there for the rebellious, which is why the Apostle Shaul had said the law was not made for a righteous man. This is what he was speaking about. It was given because of the rebellious. So those who reject the law are in rebellion. You have to accept the law. You have to obey the law to not be in rebellion against the Most High. For I know thy rebellion and thy stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet with you, alive with you this day, ye have been rebellious against Yahuwah. And how much more after my death? Verse 28.
Gather unto me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, that I may speak these words in their ears, and call heaven and earth to record against them.
All right. This is a witness. Call heaven and earth to witness against them. This verse here, this word here, record. We're going to see it coming up later. Remember it. Verse 29.
For I know that after my death ye will utterly corrupt yourselves, and turn aside from the way which I commanded you, and evil will befall you in the latter days, because you will do evil in the sight of Yahuwah, to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands.
This is why you need the testimony. This is why you need the testament. That is why if you don't have the law and the testimony, there is no light in you. You will corrupt yourselves if you don't obey Torah, if you don't have the witness. You are going to corrupt yourself and do evil. All right? And Moses bear record or bear testimony against them with a song. Verse 30.
Verse 30, and Moses spake in the ears of all the congregation of Israel the words of this song until they were ended.
All right. So let's look more into the testimony. Psalm 78, 5-8. Read, please.
Psalm 78, verse 5. For he established the testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers that they should make them known to their children.
All right. So what are we saying here? He's telling us that this testimony that he appointed to our people should be handed down. It was commanded to our fathers, and it should be handed down to our children. Why should they be handed down to their children? Verse 6.
That the generation to come might not know them.
Know them.
That the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children.
Continue.
that they might set their hope in Allure and not forget the works of Allure, but keep his commandments.
Oh, that is why he appointed a law in Israel and a testimony unto Jacob. The law is a testimony for his people, so that they do not forget the works of Allure and do keep his commandments. And verse 8.
And might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with Allure.
All right. So this is the reason for the testimony. This is why we cannot throw away Torah. This is why, even though we have the Messiah, we believe in the Messiah, it is belief in the Messiah which leads us into obedience to the Most High, so that we are not rebellious against him. So the witness of the Messiah cannot lead us to transgress against the law of the Most High. This is what we are actually boiling down to. Saying you have the witness of the Messiah, you have the testimony of the Messiah, cannot lead you into rebellion against the word or the testimony of the Most High. Testimony of the Messiah is a testimony of the Father. So we're going to look at that generation to come might know. No, we're going to look at that they should make them known to their children. Let's go take a precept for that. Deuteronomy 29. Read, please.
Deuteronomy 29, verse 28. Verse 29. The secret things belong unto Yahuwah our Allah, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law.
All right, so that is it. Unto our children forever. Our testimony cannot. This is forever. And this is why we tell people, Wayne, I always tell Leroy always saying you cannot mix the two covenants, and mixing the two covenants is like this and that. No. One covenant merges with the other. So when we have the Messiah is given to us so that we do not transgress the previous covenant. That's it. Because it was given to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. And having the testimony brings power with it. Bamidbar 7, verse 89. Having the testimony brings a whole lot of power. As we said before, the Most High will speak to us when we have his testimony. Verse 89.
Verse 89. And when Moses was gone into the tabernacle of the congregation to speak with him, then he heard the voice of one speaking unto him from off the mercy seat that was upon the ark of testimony, from between the two cherubims, and he spake unto him.
All right. Right down. Turn it away from here. Yeah. All right. So when we have the testimony, then the Most High will speak to us, as I said before. Joshua 3, 9 to 17. Now, whenever Israel was going into battle, they brought the ark of the testimony with them. They brought the testimony with them. And as the Apostle Shaul says, the law is a shadow of things to come, meaning the law shows us the physical parallel of our spiritual covenant. So when we are going into battle now, in this end time, A whole lot of people are saying, a whole lot of sinners, not going to take their vaccine. I'm not going to this, not going to that. But they do not have the testimony to go into the battle. You have to have the testimony. If you don't have the testimony of Yahusha and the word of Allah, if you are not walking in obedience to the Father's commandments through belief in his Son, then you do not have the testimony to go with you into the battle. You are going to be like someone who is fighting people with guns and knives and bombs, and you have nothing at all in your hand. You do not even have the armor to protect yourself. You cannot win that battle. You have to go into battle with the testimony. Verse 9, please read.
Verse 9. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, Come hither, and hear the words of Yahuwah your Allah.
Continue.
And Joshua said, Hereby ye
Go ahead. Hello, who is there?
Hello.
Wayne, are you back as yet?
Let me know if you
Yeah,
could
who's
hear
that?
loud enough.
Yeah, it's clear now, Wayne. All right, thank you very
It's
much.
clear enough? Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shamuel. Go ahead, Wayne.
3 and 9,
10.
10. And Joshua said, Hereby ye shall know that the living Allah is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Hivites, and the Perizzites, and the Gerishites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites.
All right, so this is what the Most High is going to drive out all your enemies from before you. All of them. But you have to have the testimony. The testimony has to go before you. Verse 11.
11. Behold, the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah of all the earth passed over before you in Jordan.
All right, so look at this now. In the previous verse, verse 10, he proclaimed to him that the Most High would drive out their enemies from before them. But in 11, he said, Behold, the ark of the covenant, the ark of the testimony of Yahuwah passeth before you. The testimony has to go before you. Where is your testimony? Verse 12.
Verse 12. Now therefore, take your 12 men out of the tribes of Israel, out of every tribe a man.
Continue.
And it shall come to pass,
Continue.
as soon as the soles of the feet, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
shall,
man.
I have internet. Okay, and it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests that bear the ark of Yahuwah, the Yahuwah of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan, that the waters of Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand upon a heap.
All right. So who the power is manifest in those who have the testimony. There's those who hold the testimony through whom the Most High manifests his power. Verse 14.
14. And it came to pass, when the people removed from their tents to pass over Jordan, and the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the people.
Continue.
And as they that bear the ark were come unto Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks, all the time of the harvest.
Yeah, continue.
That the water which came down from above stood and rose up upon the heap very far from the city, Adam, that is beside Zeratan. And those that came down toward the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed and were cut off, and the people passed over right against Jericho.
All right, we see the power of the Most High manifest in those who have the testimony, who have the ark of the testimony. Verse 17.
17. And the priest that bare the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah stood firm on dry ground in the midst of Jordan, and all the Israelites passed over on dry ground, until all the people were passed clean over Jordan.
Okay. So we see the great power manifest in those who have the testimony, the ark of the testimony, the ark of the covenant. So, or I should say, but it was prophesied in Jeremiah that one day we would no longer need the ark of the testimony, because we are going to have another testimony that will be given unto us. Jeremiah 3, verse 16. We're leaving from Joshua 3:16. Jeremiah 3:16. All right, read, please.
Jeremiah 3:16. And it shall come to pass, when he be multiplied and increased in the land in those days, said Yahuwah, they shall say no more, the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall that be done anymore.
All right, so when the Messiah returns to establish it, no more ark of the testimony. But before that, the Messiah came and he has given us the down payment. He has given us the down payment on our inheritance. So him giving us the down payment on our inheritance means we no longer need the ark of the covenant, because we are going to have the testimony of the Messiah with us, dwelling in us, living in us. Verse 17.
17. At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of Yahuwah, and all the nations shall be gathered unto it. To the name of Yahuwah, to Jerusalem, neither shall they walk any more after the imagination of their evil heart.
All right, so when they have this testimony, they will be in righteousness. Verse 18.
18. In those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers.
All right, this is the redemption, the return of his people, having the testimony of Yahusha. Continue.
But I said, how shall I put thee among the children, and give thee a pleasant land, a goodly heritage of the hosts of nations? And I said, thou shalt call me my father, and shalt not turn away from me.
All right, so we are going to have, when you have this witness, we will no longer go after the imagination of our heart, neither will we turn away from the Most High. This is a spiritual testimony that we have. Verse 20.
Verse 20. Surely, as a wife treacherously depart from her husband, so have ye dealt treacherously with me, O house of Israel, said Yahuwah.
Continue.
A voice was heard upon the high places, weeping and supplications of the children of Israel, for they have perverted their ways, and they have forgotten Yahuwah their Elohah.
All right. Verse 22.
22. Return, ye backsliding children, and I will heal you. I will heal your backsliding. Behold, we come unto thee, for thou art the Yahweh of our Aloha. The Yahweh.
All right,
I'm
so
sorry. Thou art Yahweh, our Aloha.
so this is what we're saying here, that in the end, his people will turn back to him, which means obeying his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. This is a call. Return, return, come back. Not come to something new, but come back. Those who have backslidden. Verse 23.
23. Truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills and from the multitude of mountains. Truly in Yahweh or Aloha is the salvation of Israel.
So Yahuwah is our Savior. And his salvation is manifested in Yahusha, who is his proxy, the one he uses to execute his salvation. In Yahuwah is the salvation of Israel. Verse 24.
For shame hath devoured the labor of our fathers from our youth, their flocks and their herds, their sons and their daughters.
Continue.
We lie down in our shame, and our confusion covered us. For we have sinned against Yahweh our Aloha, we and our fathers, from our youth even unto this day, and have not obeyed the voice of Yahweh our Aloha.
Right, so this is the problem. Our sin, he has testified against us, and we have not stood up to the testimony. We have not returned to him. We have not turned from our backsliding from the days of our fathers unto this day. And this is evident even today. But now we have the witness of the Messiah. John 8:17-18. We have the witness of the Messiah today that in our covenant was given to us so that we could obey the Most High in his testimonies against us. So we are one with the Messiah and we are one with the Most High. One in faith and one in obedience. John 8:17-18. So we started from the Old Testament, we're touching down into its manifestation in the New Testament, because the Old Testament, of course, so shows the physical parallel to our spiritual covenant. John 8:17, this is the Messiah speaking. Read, please.
8:17. It is also written in your law that the testimony of two men is true.
Continue.
I am one that bear witness of myself, and the Father that sent me beareth witness of me.
All right, so we see this thing here now. We had the Ark of the Covenant, and we had the law, and we had the law of Moses and the 10 Commandments as a witness against Israel. All right? But the Father now is bearing witness of the Messiah by the Spirit, the Ruach, that he has given to the Messiah. We did verse 8? Yes. 1 Corinthians 2:1. Read, please.
1 Corinthians 2, verse 1. And I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of Aloha.
The testimony of Aloha is his son. Verse 2.
For I determined not to know anything among you save Yahusha HaMashiach and him crucified.
This is the testimony of Yahuwah, the Son, and him impaled, and the resurrection from the dead, manifesting the power of the Most High, as we looked at in 1 Peter previously. And through belief in the testimony of Yahuwah, which is the testimony of his Son, through belief in that, then we will have the testimony in ourselves. We will be a witness in ourselves. Remember the Messiah said, I am one that be a witness of myself. Well, when we have the Messiah, have the belief in the Messiah, then we will have the testimony in ourselves. Acts 14:3. Read, please.
Acts 14:3. Long time therefore about they speaking boldly in Yahuwah, which gave testimony unto the word of his grace, and granted signs and wonders to be done by their hands.
The word of his grace. All right. Yahuwah gave testimony unto the word of his grace, unto the Messiah, testimony of the Messiah. And because of that, he granted signs and wonders in his name. 1 John 5:10. Read, please.
1 John 5:10. He that believeth on the Son of Allah hath a witness in himself. He that believeth not, Allah hath made him a liar, because he believeth not the record of Allah gave of his Son.
All right. All right. So let's start at verse 9. This needs more introspection. Read, go into verse 9.
Verse 9. If we receive the witness of men, the witness of Allah is greater. For this is the witness of Allah, which he had testified of his Son.
All right. If we receive the witness of men, the witness of Allah is greater. This reminds me of a conversation we had on Facebook. This man was saying that he can't wait to take the vaccine when it comes. So I just sent him a question. I said, are you aware of the ingredients that are in the vaccine? And I said, Google the word recombinant. Then maybe a day after, I saw a message. It was not his post, it was a girl's post. And the girl was being so condescending. Brian Elliott, don't you know that this man is a scientist? And so he will know what is in the vaccine. So he will know what is in the vaccine. You come on here disrespecting, and I didn't disrespect him. I just asked the man if he knows what is in the vaccine. But because this man, she said he's a scientist. So because he's a scientist, I have no right to ask him that question. That question is now disrespectful to him because I asked him to Google a word. So what she's implying is that because he's a scientist, he knows everything. So I responded and told her that the wisdom of man is foolishness unto the Most High. And if it could be Albert Einstein, if he is willing to take that vaccine, it means that he is in ignorance. Yeah? So what I'm saying with this verse, the witness of the scientist, but the witness of Yahuwah is greater, because the witness of Yahuwah lets us know that something is wrong, but he, this great scientist, cannot know nor understand. So the witness of Yahuwah is always greater than the witness of man. For this is the witness of Yahuwah, which he hath testified of his Son. So this witness is in his Son. So if we have the Son, the witness of the Son, if we have the testimony of the Son, which means walking as the Son walked, going through trials, tribulations, obeying his word, walking as he walked in obedience to his Father, if we are many Yahushas walking on this earth, then we have the testimony of his Son. And no testimony of man is greater than that testimony. Verse 10, he that believeth on the Son of Allah hath the witness in himself, because the witness in himself is the Holy Spirit. You believe on the Son, you are given the gift of the Holy Spirit, which is the witness, because it says the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the sons of Allah. So we gotta have the testimony of the Messiah. And this is the record. All right, so because he believeth not the record that Allah gave of his Son. Verse 11, and this is the record. Continue.
Okay, I was muted. And this is the record, that Allah had given to us eternal life, and this life is in his Son.
And this life is in his Son. This is the record. Because they have not believed the record that Allah gave his Son, and this is a record, eternal life, and this life is in Messiah Yahusha. Verse 12.
He that had the Son had life, and he that had not the Son of Allah had not life.
All right, so if we do not have the Spirit of Messiah, as the Apostle Shaul went and said, but you are not in the flesh, in the Spirit. Let me get the word for it, so I don't lie. It's Romans, yeah. Romans 8:9. Read, please.
Romans 8:9. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if so be that the Spirit of Allah dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the Spirit of Amashiach, he is none of his.
All right, so we have to have the Spirit dwelling in us. And this is what it means when he says, he that hath not the Son. If you do not have the Spirit of the Son, and that Spirit, of course, is given to us by the Father through belief in his Son. Belief in his word that said, repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Yahusha Mashiach, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. Believe on him. And then, when we do that, we walk as the Messiah walked. We abide in the Messiah and walk as he walked. We're looking here at what it means to have the testimony of the Messiah. All right? And of course, what we just said about having the testimony of the Messiah was prophesied in Ezekiel. Let's go to verse 11, chapter 11, verse 17 to 20. This was prophesied that there would come a day when we would have a spirit dwelling within us that would lead us to obey the laws, the statutes, the commandments, the judgments of the Most High. This is the day that he sent his Son, and his Son, belief in his Son, caused us to walk in obedience. Chapter 17, read please.
17. Therefore say, thus saith Yahuwah thy Allah, I will even gather you from the people and assemble you out of the countries where you have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel.
This is telling about end times. All right, what will happen in the end in the new covenant, the new covenant that will be given to Israel and to Judah. This is what will happen. Verse 18.
18. And they shall come thither, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from thence.
Continue.
And I will give them one heart, and I will put a new spirit within you, and I will take the stony heart out of their flesh, and will give them an heart of flesh.
This is what happens through belief in the Messiah. This prophecy is fulfilled in our belief in the Messiah, which leads us to follow the instructions that were given unto us by the apostles. Continue.
That they may walk in my statutes and keep mine ordinances and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Aloha.
So the only way to be his people is to walk in obedience. Walk in obedience to his statutes and his ordinances and do them. And Seventh-day Adventists, this is not speaking about the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments are the broad headings. The statutes and his ordinances are in the law of Moses. So in the end, we are still called to obey the Torah, the law of Moses, even though we are in the Spirit, even though we have this new spirit within us. This is what it means to walk in with the testimony of Yahusha. You have to walk in obedience to what he said and in obedience to what his Father said. Because walking in obedience to what he said will lead you into doing what the Father said. And what the Father said is more easily walked in when you do what the Son says. Otherwise, we are going to struggle. So let us see that what we are trying to say all along, that the testimony of Yahusha cannot be separated from walking in obedience to Torah. It has to be both of them bearing witness, because the Son is the witness of the Father. And the Father's word is manifested in the Torah and the prophets. So the Messiah, belief in the Messiah, the testimony of the Messiah has to be accompanied by the word of Allah. And let us give proofs. Revelation 1, verse 9.
Before we get that one, let me just add something to what you just said, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, if we obey the law, that will lead us into righteousness, that will lead us to grace. There is no way we can reach at grace and say, okay, I am finished with obeying the law. That will send us right to being back under the law. So it is always one.
Stop there. It's grace. It's grace for first.
Yeah, grace.
Yeah, so it's a grace that gives us the time and the space to turn to obedience. All right, go ahead now.
Yeah, I was just saying, you cannot reach to a certain place through a certain way. And when you reach there, it's like you throw away that which you walk on to get there. You know, I'm talking about saying the law is done away with, you know?
Yeah.
It is still applicable.
Yeah, but I'm glad you touched on grace, because it's very important to understand the grace. Grace is given as a sort of reprieve, a temporary,
right?
Temporary reprieve, so that we can get things right. If you're going to school and they change a law and said, you used to wear blue socks. I've seen this happen. You used to wear blue socks, and they have changed the law and said, no, all students will be wearing black socks. What they do, they give you grace. They say, okay, I know that everybody can't buy the socks by tomorrow, but I will give you all 1 week. And so In 1 week time, no student is supposed to be coming here with blue socks. That is grace that the Most High gave us. We are breaking Torah, walking in sin, walking in unrighteousness. The Most High give us favor, give us grace, and says, okay, I'm not going to execute my judgments on you, but walk in obedience to me. Turn from your evil ways. Repent. Turn from your backsliding ways, and you will be good. That is what grace is for. Grace does not replace obedience. Grace does not replace his instructions. Grace gives us reprieve, a grace period.
Yes. Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, Brother B. And hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. And what the Apostle Shaul was also trying to say is that any man who practices, right, who follows the laws is no longer under the law, right? Because the law is for rebellious people.
Yes.
So lawbreakers are the ones who are under the law. That's a definition to understand, because many
Yes.
don't understand that. Because if you're law abiding, tell me where the law is that is going to hold you in condemnation. There is nothing. So you are above the law when you are in obedience to the law. So that is how best I can sum that up. And
Yes.
and also another thing, bro B, how do people come up with the whole thing of spiritual Israel? Because everything we are learning here, it's appalling. You know, it's scary. It's because there's quite a lot of promises here that indicates that the same Israel, physical Israel, is still gonna be, is the one Yahuwah is dealing with, and is still gonna redeem.
Yes.
There is no replacement Israel here who are going to be saved in the spirit later. It's just.
Yes, bro.
A matter of fact, Brother B, think
Yeah.
I had a verse on that which Brother Samuel just gave. I saw it this morning. I'm trying to find it here.
Jeremiah 31:35.
No, that's not the one.
No, it's Galatians 1 verse 1.
No, okay.
Yes,
Let me just do
11
this
verse
one.
1.
You were saying no. This I had something else on mind. But Samuel was saying that physical Israel did not stop from being for the promises are still to the same physical Israel, right? Read
Yes.
Jeremiah 31:35.
Thus say Yahweh, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. Yahweh of hosts is his name.
So this is the Most High swearing. He's gonna swear. He just swore a while ago by the sun and the moon. And he said, verse 36.
36. If those ordinances depart from before me, said Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever.
What is that saying? The seed of Israel, the physical from sperma, as they say in let's see what this means here. Verse 36. The seed, age 22, 23, figuratively a fruit plant, sowing time, posterity, carnally, child. This is referring to a descendant, I call it offspring, literal seed of Israel. Shall not cease from being a nation from before him forever. So while we are in captivity, we still remain Israel to him, even though we don't know who we are. He still promised that he'll be like a little sanctuary among us, even though we are in captivity and lost and worshiping other gods. All right, your verse now. Which was the one that you were talking about, Wayne?
Get Brother Samuel's first. I think he was saying
Samuel,
something.
yours.
And Galatians 1 verse 1. That's the one.
Galatians
Shaul.
1:1.
Shaul was talking about that.
Galatians 1:1.
Yeah.
Read, please.
Paul, an apostle, not of men, neither by man, but by Yahusha Mashiach, and Allah the Father, who raised him from the dead.
Go ahead, Samuel.
So, sorry, bro Brian. It's Galatians 11 verse 1. Sorry,
Oh.
not that. Yeah, 11
Because
verse 1.
I
My
wanted to. Galatians 1:11.
11:1.
Galatians
Are you
doesn't
sure
have
it's not
11.
Roman?
Oh, bro Wayne, because I'm looking at what you wrote here. It says
So
Galatians
that must be
11.
Romans 11:1 then.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Go. Read, please.
I say then, Allah cast away his people, Allah forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin.
Verse 2.
Verse 2. Allah had not cast away his people, which he foreknew. Was it not what the scripture said unto Elias? How he maketh intercession to Allah against Israel, saying.
Okay, so this was going into Eliah or Elijah making intercession, saying that they had destroyed all of Israel. And the Most High said he had preserved 7,000 who had not bowed down to Baal. So in effect, what Shaul was saying, that there is always a remnant of Israel, always a remnant that is left throughout time. All right. So where are we now? You had finished speaking, Wayne?
I think that was someone wanted to speak on that. I think he was making the point that it is not like a spiritual Israelite, because it states that he is also an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. So it was showing is a seed and tribe here also, seed.
The thing about spiritual Israelite is the same spirit of the woman that is trying to downplay Israel. What they want to do, they do not want to acknowledge Israel. The same people who talk about spiritual Israelites, they will never ever try to come out and tell the children of Israel who they are, try to wake up his people to turn to them. They try to get you to religion. Always a religion. Always religion, not about the people, not about, okay, like the book is about you, this you're speaking about you. No.
Yeah.
They take the spiritual Israelites now and negate all of that. Everything to do with Israel is forgotten because, we are spiritual Israelites, so no need to talk about Israel anymore.
Yeah. Also, when they do that, it nullifies. Well, it still keeps the original or the true Israelites sleeping, because they don't see the severity of why they need to awaken.
Yes.
And that's why they're doing that.
Yes.
So when they find us telling our brothers, awaken, oh Yasharal, they say, but why are you referring to black people? Then it becomes an issue of color. And then they divert the whole thing to become what it's not. Because it has to go to the children first, then to the other people, to the strangers. That is how it's supposed to be. So every time they downplay the idea that, it's not a race thing, it's not what else? It's not about the name and all that stuff. It's because they're just trying to hide the truth, and they want to keep the true people, it's still in the wrath of the Most High. Because the only way Israel will be saved is when they get out of that wrath. Where they are sitting currently in Christianity, in Islam, is all against, is a place, is like Psalm 1 verse 1. You are sitting in the seat of scoffers, and you are just part of the congregation that the Yahuwah is going to rain his wrath on. So we need to awaken our brothers and sisters. Then if there's a stranger around who hears the good news and is interested, we are not going to deny you. We're not going to say you're not part of it. We still proclaim the good news to you. But they want us to do it the other way around. Talk about it not being raised, choose or pick the Gentiles first, which is Edom and its people, and then somehow come and treat the children. Meanwhile, the word says that anyone who curses you will be cursed as well. Anyone who blesses you will be blessed. So directly, even if it takes a Gentile to awaken an Israelite, that is a great, great blessing as well in a sense. So we are not going to sleep and back down and say, I'm going to feel guilty because I'm speaking to my fellow Black people to wake up. No, it is the right thing we are doing. And that's religion. That's what religion does, as Brother Brian, you are saying. That's the spirit of that anti group of people, Catholicism and Christianity.
Yes. Trying to negate the truth, because the truth is about the people and the truth is about who we are. That's what the truth is about. And the promises that are given to a nation, and the promises to the nation does not mean that other nations are excluded. If people from other nations want to be a part of it, they join themselves to those people. That's as simple as what the scripture says. It's not religion. You join yourselves to his people, and to join yourself to his people in this time, you have to help to call out his people. Our people are sleeping, so if you're joining yourself to our people, you're going to wake up the people, just as Brother Dana does. His thing is to wake up his Gentile people, his white people, to tell them that, hey, these people are the children of Israel. You have had it wrong all along, and you have been abusing these people. You need to turn and repent and start to treat these people right, or the wrath of the Most High is going to be on you. And then he also goes to Hebrews and tell them, you are the children of Israel. You need to turn to your father. All these promises are yours. That is what the Gentiles are supposed to be doing. But what do most of them do? They shrug it off. Oh, we are all Israelites. We are spiritual Israel. We are this. Not helping us at all.
Is the idea of supremacist. You see, I asked a friend a question in the past couple of days. I said to them, let me tell you the honest truth. How many sons and daughters of Edom are gonna truthfully be able to receive the right way in cleaving or receiving salvation from the house of Israel? How many of them are gonna be able to receive that message? And I said, imagine the woman who was called a dog. If she didn't have that humility, she was going to take offense to what the Messiah said and walk away.
Yes.
So let's not shy away, because you see, when it comes to the idea of race, unfortunately, someone has made race quite a very sensitive issue, and it wasn't supposed to be a sensitive thing. It's supposed to be a conversation that we have, because when we say cleave to the house of Israel, I mean cleave. The last time I checked the definition, you cannot be proud when you are cleaving. You cannot be arrogant when you are cleaving. You know, you are holding on for somebody for dear life, for mercy. That is what you are doing. And so it is important that the Gentiles get to understand what is happening, because if not, they will hold on to the false hope in the salvation Christianity has presented, that you just confess your sins and then voila, you are in the kingdom. It does not happen that way, according to the scripture. So that is the truth that we need to, because they know that once they accept that way, automatically they have to come in submission to the Black people, and they don't want to do that. So they rather than accept it that way, they play equal rights to say, you know what? Yeah, we are all the same. We are one in Yahusha. We are this, we are that. And that is pretty much what it is.
Yes. Yes, bro. So that was a great interjection. So let us continue. Let us continue looking at what it means to have the testimony of Yahusha. And we were saying that having the testimony of Yahusha does not exclude obedience to the word of the Most High, to the Torah, to the law. Revelation 1, verse 9. We're going to look at a few scriptures, and today's teaching won't be long. Revelation 1, verse 9. A few scriptures that tell us that they are inseparable because one bears witness to the other. 1:9. Read, please.
1:9. I, John, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation and in the kingdom and patience of Yahusha HaMashiach, was in the isle of, which was in the isle that is called Patmos, for the word of Allah and for the testimony of Yahusha HaMashiach.
All right. Let's dissect this verse. I, John, who also am your brother. All right. John was one of the apostles, the closest apostle to the Mashiach, was described as the apostle that the Messiah loved. He is our brother and companion in tribulation, in the kingdom and patience of Yahusha HaMashiach, was in the isle that is called Patmos, for the word of Allah and for the testimony of Yahusha HaMashiach. The testimony of Yahusha HaMashiach has to be accompanied by the word of Allah. So what does it mean to have the testimony of Yahusha? Walking as he walked, obeying his word, and obeying the word of the Most High is right there along with it. Revelation 1:1-2. Read, please.
The revelation of Yahusha HaMashiach, which Allah gave unto him, to shew unto his servant things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John,
Continue.
who bear record of the word of Allah and of the testimony of Yahusha HaMashiach and of all things that he saw.
See, here we have it. The word of Allah accompanying the testimony of Yahusha. The testimony of Yahusha, you cannot have the testimony of Yahusha unless you are obeying the word of Allah. Impossible. Impossible. Revelation 12:17. Impossible. Read it, please.
Revelation 2:17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Allah and have the testimony of Yahusha HaMashiach.
The remnant in the end time will be those who keep the commandments of Allah and have the testimony of Yahusha. You have to have the testimony. And remember, the testimony of Yahusha is one of suffering, which is why John described himself as one who was in the kingdom and patience of Yahusha and our brother in tribulation. So to have the testimony of Yahusha, where is your suffering? Where is your persecution? Where is your tribulation? Where? You're just living a life of prosperity. And you sow your seed and you go after the next pretty thing, and you are so, as you call it, blessed, that you mock those who are not so, quote unquote, blessed as you are, as not being of the Most High. Where is your tribulation? Let's go back to John 1:1. Revelation 1:1. It's very important, because some people believe that no, run 9. I, John, who also am your brother and the companion in tribulation and in the kingdom and patience of Yahusha Mashiach. A true believer who has the testimony of Yahusha is going to be in tribulation. He's going to have to need patience in order to get through. And they will obey the word of the Most High, and they will have the testimony of the Messiah, which is the suffering, the patience, the belief, the love. Yeah? So let's go back to that verse, because there's more in it for us. Revelation 12:17. And the dragon was wrought to the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. And remember, we were talking earlier, and this is why I know by coincidence when you interject, when you brothers interject, because it's there for a purpose. Remember, when Shamuel said that Israel, there will always be a seed of Israel. This is the remnant of the seed, the blood Israelites in the end time will be those who keep the commandments of Allah and have the testimony of Yahusha. They are inseparable. The remnant of Israel will keep the commandments of Allah. Let's go back to Romans 11 again to see the remnant, what was said about the remnant. I had stopped short of reading it, but now I realize that I should have read it. Let's do it, please. Romans 11:1.
11:1. I say then, hath Allah cast away his people? Allah forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin.
Verse 2.
Allah had not cast away his people which he foreknew. What the scripture said of Elias, how he maketh intercession of Allah against Israel, saying,
Continue.
Yahuwah, saying, Yahuwah, they have killed thy prophet, and dig down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of Allah unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Even so, then, at this present time also, there is a remnant according to the election of grace.
All right. There is always a remnant according to the election of favor, of grace, as they call it. The Most High has his elect. We cannot determine who he elects. He is the potter, we are the clay. He decides whom among us he's going to choose. And he decides whom among us is going to get salvation. Right? It is his grace that makes us, it's his grace that makes us have access to his salvation. And of course, we have a part to play in that if we have the interest and the desire, then he does the next thing and he brings us in. Because if we do not have his desire for truth, then he will not wake us up. So the remnant in the end, the elect in the end, let's go back now, that this remnant has always been and will always be, this remnant in the end will be those, the remnant of our seed, which keep the commandments of Allah and have the testimony of Yahusha HaMashiach. All right? So what are we saying here? We keep saying this over and over and over and over again. Over and over again. You cannot say you have the testimony of the Messiah. You cannot believe in the Messiah. You cannot expect to have salvation unless you keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahusha. Both of them. So many people nowadays in this last time, they are in religion. They believe they have the testimony of the Messiah, but the testimony of Messiah is nothing unless you are obeying the commandments and the statutes of the Most High. Impossible. So many of us, time is running out on us, as I said before. If we do not turn to the Most High, start teaching His truth, and start getting the testimony of Yahusha in our lives, then even if we turn to Him in the last days, then it's going to be tough on us because the testimony of Yahusha is not easy to bear. Many of us in this truth have been sustaining this testimony over a period of years, persecuted for years, and going through struggles, rough times, hard times, tough times for years, bearing the testimony of Yahusha. Many people have not borne it. In the end time, it is going to be really, really, really rough. Which is why the Messiah said, to make sure that we are counted worthy in the end to receive, to overcome that which is coming on the earth. All right, let's go to Luke 21, 12 to 13. Just want people to know you cannot have the testimony of the Messiah without Torah, without the law. Impossible. Without the commandments. Impossible. Will never happen. Luke 21, 12. Read, please.
But therefore, all these, they shall lay
Read.
their hands on you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It says Luke 21, 12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But therefore, all these,
Before.
but before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogue and into prison, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake.
All right. The testimony of Yahusha. If I remember when Shamuel came into the way, Shamuel said he used to wonder, where is the persecution? The Bible speaks about the people of Yahusha getting persecuted. Where is the persecution? And when he came and started following the way, then he started getting persecuted verbally, albeit verbally. Yeah? If you are not being persecuted, you don't have a testimony. A lot of people who are following the way, we are quiet, especially in these end times, because we have fear. So even though we are in truth and we know the truth, we're afraid to speak because we know what it might bring. But if you do not have the testimony of Yahusha, then you are none of his. You have to speak and not be afraid to speak. That is the testimony. And not be afraid of the persecution, because we must know that the persecution is a testimony of Yahusha. All right? So when we are persecuted, then in verse 13,
In 13, and it shall turn to you for a testimony.
all right. This is a testimony of Yahusha. All right? Being persecuted for his name's sake. And it shall be a testimony for us. So if you are here steering away from persecution, afraid of what people will say, don't want people to fall out with our people, want to fall out with our relatives, with our friends, and all of that, then you don't have the testimony. Have to be willing to suffer and be persecuted.
So in a nutshell, it's basically these are signs of our testimony.
Yes.
These will be the sign that yes, you're keeping the testimony.
Yes.
So when we see all these things coming upon us, persecution, delivering up to synagogues and all those prison, being, what happened is, brought to court. So many times we use these and we are upset saying, why this have to happen to me? these are or these should be your testimony. We should
Mhm.
want to hold on to these to say, you know what? Yes, I have my testimony. What
Mhm.
happened so many times, we are looking for our own testimony, but we cannot
Mhm.
choose our testimony. So this is just for us to really look deeper in ourselves and to understand more why some of these things are happening to us, and not pushing the spirit away
Uh-huh.
by saying too much, no, I can't bear it. If you cannot bear it, it wouldn't happen,
Mhm.
because the Most High will never give us
Yep.
more than we can bear. So
Uh-huh.
this is just a hint for us to really understand the testimony.
Mhm.
Um, can I say something there also?
Sure, sure.
Um, this verse, as it says, that they shall lay their hands on you, persecute you, delivering you up to synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake, for his name's sake.
Mhm.
I remember what happened not so long ago. I'm just telling a testimony here
Yeah.
that I was put before pastors, bishops, and many other people, and they were saying that this man is teaching us, is telling us that God is not God. He's talking about this Yahuwah, this Yahusha thing. When this happened, actually, I did not understand what was happening. It is scary when you don't know what's happening, but this study actually, it sort of encourages us, it enlightens us that we must know that these things are going to happen once.
Mhm.
We are still going to be brought before kings. Some of us are even going to be killed.
Mhm.
As the brothers are speaking today, it's going to happen, especially now with this vaccine that is coming. We have to alert the people, awaken the people. But there are those who are not going to like this. They will actually want to destroy us. But we need to be bold. We need to pray. We need to dedicate. We need to have the witness,
Mhm.
because it's still going to happen on a greater scale. It's happening already. It's still going to happen. We're not going to see it and think, oh, it's going to happen next year. We need to attack this kingdom of darkness right now by telling the light,
Yes.
so that people may be awakened and that we may be counted worthy of the testimony of our Yahusha Mashiach.
Yep.
I rest my case.
Awesome. Yes, so as you were saying, Wayne, we should actually be happy when we are persecuted. We go to Masim 5. When they where was it? Peter and John, I think, were being persecuted, and they were brought before the council. And one of them, told them that if to leave these men alone. Verse 38. Read from there. Wayne. Could someone else read, please?
Okay, sorry, I was reading and I was muted. I
Yeah.
repeat. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone, for if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught.
Continue.
But if it will come to naught.
Continue.
Continue. But if it be of Allah, ye cannot overthrow it, lest haply ye be found even to fight against Allah. And to him, And when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yahusha, and let them go. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name.
All right, you see that?
Yep.
They were beaten and they departed rejoicing. Imagine that. Literally being beaten. Some of us, we might just get a little embarrassment and we are cast down. These people are rejoicing when they are beaten because they are counted worthy to suffer shame for the name of Yahusha. Because they remembered when he spoke, when he was with them, and he spoke and he told them. So now they are rejoicing because now they know that it is a testimony unto them. And this is why testimony is important. The testimony of Yahusha is important. It's widely overlooked. Yeah?
Brother B,
Yeah, go ahead.
can you go back a little bit for me at that same verse? I think it was Luke 21.
Yeah.
Was it verse 12?
Yeah.
Okay, go up to 11. Let me see something. Okay,
Oh,
11 says, yeah, that's it. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famine, and pestilence, and fearful signs, and great signs shall there be from heaven.
Yeah.
And we can attest that so many of these are taking place right now.
Yeah.
You know? So for some of us, when we read verse 12, and we are now understanding what it takes to have the testimony, what some of us can do is continue to thrive towards righteousness and obedience, because if you are really following these things will come. So not because it is not happening now, don't feel like you have been left out. Just keep on pushing. You are now in preparation. You are in battle. You are in practice. So the time will come when these things will come upon us. So when they come, we will remember, hey, these are what will bring out of me the testimony that I'm carrying with me. I rest my case.
Yep. Now, importantly, very importantly, if we do not have the testimony of Yahuwah, then Yahuwah will testify against us. He will witness against us. His judgment will be against us. Very important. Very important. We have to have the testimony, or we are on his wrong side in these end times. Revelation 15, verse 5 to 8. Read, please.
15, 5 to 8. And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened.
Stop. The temple of the what? The temple of the what?
The temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven.
Testimony. Let's go see what's going to come out of the tabernacle of the testimony. Let's see what testimony. Is it going to be good? Verse 6.
Verse 6. And the 7 angels came out of the temple, having 7 plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, and girding girdles. And one of the 4 beasts gave.
No, stop there. Stop there.
Beasts.
Stop there. This is what we want. The tabernacle of the testimony. And what is coming out of the tabernacle of the testimony? 7 plagues. if we do not have the testimony of Yahusha and obey the commandments of Allah, then the testimony of the Most High is going to be against us, and whatever is taking the earth, we will be exposed to what is coming to the earth. Verse 7, read please.
7. And one of, hold on there. And one of the four beasts gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials full of the wrath of Allah, who will live forever and ever.
Full of the what?
Wrath.
The wrath of Allah. So the testimony that is going to be against the earth is going to manifest the wrath of Yahuwah revealed in these 7 plagues, who liveth forever and ever. Verse 8, and the temple of the testimony, tabernacle of the testimony. Read verse 8, please.
Verse 8. And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of Allah, and was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled.
The 7 plagues that are upon us. So it is the wrath of Allah that is going to be poured out upon this earth. But those with the testimony of Yahusha and the belief and the obedience to Yahuwah were not and are not appointed to these plagues. So it's a trade-off. You're willing to take prosecutions and the problems that are given to you by man and obey the Most High, because this is a choice with this mark of the beast, you know. The question that is facing us as human beings: am I willing to take this abomination from man, this thing that will change my DNA and no doubt allow them to program me, to let them change me into whatever they want me to do? I don't know whatever they're going to change me into, but the recombinant thing in the vaccine is going to recombine DNA, going to change DNA, alter the genome. Am I willing to take that and live comfortable with man for a short while and then face the wrath of Allah? Or am I willing to face the wrath of man for a little while and then be sheltered from the wrath of Allah? And not only that, but also to inherit the kingdom that is to come. That is the choice. Because we are not appointed to this wrath. This wrath that we have here with the 7 plagues, we are not appointed to it if we are true believers. 1 Thessalonians 5:2-10, that those plagues are for those who are rebellious, lawless. 1 Thessalonians 5:2-10. Read, please. We are talking about the day of Yahuwah, the wrath of Yahuwah that comes on the day of Yahuwah. Read, please.
For yourselves know perfectly that the day of Yahuwah so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
All right, so this is speaking about those who don't have the testimony of Yahusha. They shall say peace and safety, as they are doing in this world. They are saying, oh, you got us just take the vaccine and everything will be okay. Peace and safety they shall say, but sudden destruction shall come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Continue, please.
But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief.
All right, so this is what we're saying. This is what we are saying, that we are not appointed to wrath. This is what Peter is saying here. Ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Verse 5.
Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore,
All right. So because we are of the light and not of the night. Verse 6.
6. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober.
Continue.
For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night.
They are in darkness.
Who are of the day, but let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation.
All right. So we are to be vigilant. We are to watch, be sober. All right. In faith, in love. In other words, we are to strengthen whatever remains. All right. And this is because in verse 9, as we said, this testimony should not be against us, any true believer, because verse 9 says,
For Allah had not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Yahusha HaMashiach.
by our master Yahusha HaMashiach. So this is actually saying that when the tabernacle of the temple in heaven is opened, ready to pour out the plagues, then these plagues would not take those who have the testimony of Yahusha, because he has not appointed us to his wrath. Because what is happening today, and we also have to keep this in mind as we go through, what is happening today in this world, we have the wrath of Satan. Remember in Revelation 12, it says, for Satan has come down with great wrath. The earth is going to face two wraths. I have to say that properly so I don't say the Jamaican word that they call it, the bad word. The world is going to face two wraths. The wrath of Satan as he has come down, and immediately after that, to destroy the works of Satan, the wrath of Yahuwah. Now we will go through the wrath of Satan for a time before the Most High takes us and sets us apart and then pours out his wrath. That's it. So the question for us in this time, are we willing to be soldiers through the wrath of Satan, through the wrath of man? Because if we are, and if we go through the wrath of man, then a great crown, a great, great inheritance awaits us. Time of Jacob's trouble, but he will be saved out of it. He has not appointed us to wrath. Because, read verse 9 again.
For Allah had not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our master Yahusha HaMashiach.
Verse 10.
Verse 10. Who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. Wherefore, comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do.
And that is our conclusion today. Comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even also ye do. We have to have the witness of the Messiah, which includes suffering, persecution, tribulation, trials, scourges, bad names, hypocrisy, our families turning against us, people hating us, people telling lies on us, beatings, scourgings, killings, all of that we have to go through for the name of the Messiah. But that is the wrath of man. And if we go through the wrath of man, then the wrath of the Most High is not on us. Because if we think the wrath of man was bad, wait until we see the wrath of the Most High. All right? So we must have the witness in the end. Where is our witness? Where is my witness? That's what we all have to ask ourselves. Where is our witness? Are we walking as the Messiah walked? That is his witness. Do we obey what he obeyed? That is his witness. Are we living in humility, love, mercy, judgment as he lived? That is our witness. Foxes have their holes and birds of the air have their nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Are we willing to not have anywhere to lay our heads? Do we have the witness? Do we have the testimony of the Messiah? Are we walking as he walked? That is the question. Do we have the witness, the testimony of the Messiah? And remember, the testimony of Messiah is nothing without obedience to the Torah, to the laws, the statutes, and the judgments of the Most High. Okay? So, that is a testimony, what it means to have the testimony of Yahusha. If you don't have the testimony, then the Most High, remember, if you don't have the testimony, the Most High will testify against us with the plagues that will be coming upon this earth. Okay? All right. So, I want to hear from the brothers before we close off. Or should we close off first? 2.5. Should we close off first? All right. If it's going too long, I'll just interject and close off. All right. Let's hear from the brothers. Who is first? El
go.
Pedro.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. It is true. As I was listening to the study today, also the issue of the spiritual Israelite, I've come across that on many occasions. People trying to emphasize the fact that they are spiritual Israelites. And I told them that, there is no such a spiritual Israelite. Israel is about bloodline, but people have been taught that Israel are the people that are in Israel. Israel is about a passport. It's about a color of your skin. That is, only if it's white, then you live in Israel, you are an Israelite. But that's not what it is according to the scripture. So it's a very good point that Brother Shammah also brought here about this. We need to emphasize more this issue of walking as he walked. We sometimes walk as we wish to walk and like to walk and do as we see fit. Knowing that we are Israel, we are carrying such a responsibility so that we may bear this witness to those who are still blind. We therefore need to stand fast and be able to bear this witness. It is very important, again, that we dedicate ourselves in prayer, pray for one another. We are together, we are partaking together, we are in communion, but we need to pray for each other. We need to strengthen each other in prayer so that we may stay strong, stay together. He said, they shall know that you are my disciples if you have love amongst you. We need to have the witness of love. He said, I pray that they may be one, just as you and I are one. We have to have the unity as our witness as well. So let it be that his name is honored and is be glorified through our witness to the nations. I rest my case.
Thank you, Pedro. Wayne.
Hello. Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay, what we are seeing is coming judgment from the Most High, and even the enemy, doing his thing. So what I'm seeing here is a back-to-back judgment. But what happened is the people of the Most High, who the adversary is trying hard to destroy, it is only as long as we are victorious, we will escape the judgment of wrath from the Most High. So we now see that we are really entering in the last leg. And what makes me know that it is of a fact that we are in the very last days, when we just read Luke 21 and 12, and it outlined what our testimonies should look like. When we look at where this world is heading, that is exactly where it is going, because we see what will happen if we don't do as they say. Being slapped can be a part of it. Persecuted, definitely. Thrown in prison, definitely. All of those things that were explained in verse 12, those are right there waiting for the saint who will not bow to this world system. So let's not worry. Let's just really, and in fact, await those times, because we need it. That is what we need. We don't need to be so relaxed and comfortable all days of our lives, because that would not put us in the right place based on scripture. If we are living like the Messiah, they slapped him, right? They even said he was demon possessed. They took him to the council to be judged. They call him names. They spit on him. So all of those just were explaining in that verse. So guess what? Let us get ready. And if we did not hear everything from today's teaching, let's walk away with that verse. I think it's Luke 21, verse 12. Let's hold on to it and say, you know what? This will be my passport. I'm going to try to always keep it up to date so it don't expire. Because this is what is needed, so I may be victorious. And the Messiah said, if we are victorious, the very fact that he made mention that if we are victorious, it is simply saying that we are all here in a war. We are all here in a spiritual war. Something is fighting against us, and we are trying to fight our way to be righteous. So as long as we are victorious, he said we will be on his throne, like he is on his father's throne. So again, we see if we walk like he walk, talk like he talk, do the things he do, don't do what he did not do, and since that put him on the throne, automatically we might be on the throne also. But we have to walk like he walk, live like he live. And you know what? I believe that it is not so hard. What I see is a transformation. We just need to believe. If you don't believe, it won't happen. Every day we will be talking. And even if we believe and sit down, that is not true belief, because belief gonna bring forth action. So families here, we need to wake up, because the clock is ticking, and sometimes we can be teaching and we teach ourselves out. So let us walk the walk, talk the talk. So when that great judgment day come, or when that day come of wrath, we will be judged in mercy and not in his wrath. I rest my case.
All right. Well, the time is going, so I guess I'll just wrap it up now. Where is this? All right. So I'm trying to. Oh, I can pin it from here.
Brother B,
Yeah, go ahead, Shamuel.
before you wrap up, a quick one. I just got a quick revelation now.
I can hardly hear you.
I'm saying I just got a quick revelation with regards to something now. I just want to
Yeah.
share. I just want to share quickly.
If you're gonna do it quickly because it's the time for the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it. Yeah. What I wanted to say is the word says, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with who? The word was with Allah, and the word was made flesh and dwelt among us. I'm just summarizing, I'm just paraphrasing it quickly. Now, the word being made flesh to dwell among us means that the word never changed. The word was brought and was made more visible so that the ordinary carnal mind can understand what the word really entailed. And the word became the example in Yahusha. And so we look at Yahusha and we understand what Yahuwah has been saying from the book of the Old, from the Torah. So this is it is very important that we get that understanding. The word was made flesh, the word was brought to life, that we who didn't know how to live according to the written law now could see what it means to be able to walk by having a proper example. Because in classrooms and during examinations, they say most students who pass the examination are those who pass by doing the practicals. Those who do more practicals are able to remember what they have learned, other than those who study the theory. So now we have the practical in the Messiah. He has walked the walk, talked the talk. He had done everything. So all we have to look on him to be able to understand what Yahuwah has been conveying or trying to convey to his people, that our forefathers has missed. And so we have continued to be penalized all this while, as the word says in Amos 3, verse 4. It says, only you have I known of all the families of the earth, and so I'll punish you for your iniquities. And this is what it is. So to avoid this continuous punishment and to break this chain of curses, we need to look at the example that has been sent in the form of the Messiah, the lawful Messiah, not Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Yahusha HaMashiach. So he is a perfect example that we look onto in order to walk that obedient walk. All right, I'll end it on this.
All right. That's it. He was sent as an example, but the Christians say, no, we don't want any example. We want someone to worship. So let's worship him. Yes? And let us not follow him. What a great atrocity. The Messiah was sent as our example to follow, not as someone to worship. So we follow the Messiah and have the testimony of the Messiah. If you don't follow the Messiah, how can you have the testimony of the Messiah? If you worship the Messiah, how can you have the testimony of the Messiah? And the Messiah never worshipped himself. He never worshipped a man. He worshipped the Most High, Yahuwah Sabaoth. All right? Okay, so let's leave with that. We have to have the testimony of the Mashiach. We have to live the life of the Mashiach. And we are going to have our great opportunity in these end times. Opportunity, we are the end time generation, and we are going to have the opportunity to really have the testimony of Yahusha. And remember, as the word says, precious in the eyes of Yahuwah is the death of his saints. Death to us might seem great, and what is a great thing to the Most High to bring home his saints. And remember again, the promise is that those who die in Mashiach will be first in line to live with him in the kingdom to come. So everything is switched around. What man looks on as being terrible, oh, we might die. Yeah, that is exalted in the eyes of the Most High. You have been willing to offer yourself up in service, in my service. I'm going to put you on high. Just as my son was willing to offer up himself and I've put him on high, so too will I do to you. So anything in this time, let's not be afraid. Yes? The things that we are afraid of are the things that are highly exalted. Us fearing death, us dying for this cause, we will be highly exalted. Might sound funny to the natural man, but that's how it is. Let's go out there and let's do it. Let's have the testimony of Yahusha. This is Eliyahu Yasharal here from Just a Word. JustAWord.org, JustAWordRadio.com, and JustAWord.tv. You can hear our teachings live, and you can get our teachings, all of our videos on JustAWord.tv. And of course, there we also have many, many other videos from other people that actually reveal the truth of what is happening in the world, the truth of what we teach, the truth as it relates to our salvation and as it relates to the wickedness upon this earth and revealing all the wickedness and all the lies and all the deception. It's a great resource. All right. Just want to thank all those who are now helping to add to that resource, which will get better as time goes by. So anyone can go to justaword.tv and get all the truth, all the things that have been hidden. The videos are there. All you have to do is have the desire and you will receive it. Of course, we are also on Just a Word Radio, justawordradio.com. At the moment, we are broadcasting today. All right, so when you leave here, you can turn on Just a Word Radio. Great music for the Shabbat, and of course, interspersed with great words as well. All right, so thanks for watching. You can like, subscribe, share, comment on our videos. All right, so until next time, shalom, shalom, shalom. Continue to make it just a word. All right.